Well, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, I have very many stuffs and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can be looking forward to seeing on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. Animals are still creeps and jerks. I've been trying to photograph them. They are not cooperating. We'll get into that a little bit more. I have yet another film recommendation, something that my fiance and I watched recently that was quite... it was good, but maybe not... Well, we'll get into that once we get into that. And then I have a box opening aftermath. I got two packages from very generous viewers, and I wasn't able to record me actually opening the boxes, but I got so many cool things that I wanted to show them to you on the Sunday Stuff and Things, and also read the nice letters that they included with the packages. So it's pretty cool stuff, and I'm definitely going to show you everything I got. I'm sorry I could not crack the boxes open in front of you, but I think you'll still enjoy taking a look at some of these blends, some of the fun things that we have to look forward to on the channels. And then, of course, your questions on hashtag #AskStuffandThings. So let's try to get going. All right, upcoming videos. I just recorded my first impressions of McFadin. HH, Pure Virginia. This is the one, remember, which I had already said was going to be the next review, the next first impression, the next review, and then you guys voted on the blend after that to be next. So that's going to be Stonehaven by Esoterica. But I did the first impressions of McFadin HH Pure Virginia, and see that face? What does that face mean? Means I'm pretty impressed. I think it's a good stuff. I like Virginia blends. I like pure Virginia blends. I like vapor blends, Virginia Perique blends. And a nice, just meat and potatoes kind of Virginia flake. And that's kind of what this is seeming like right now. Obviously, it's just one bowl. I'm looking forward to trying this for another week or two and giving my final review. But check out the first impressions video that'll be posting this Wednesday. I was fairly impressed, and I think you will be as well. I guess impressed by my video of me being impressed? We'll see. And then, of course, the Valheim series has finally started on Stuff and Things Plays, and I know a lot of you were looking forward to that, the people who follow Stuff and Things Plays. It's this crazy survival game where you're kind of in this Viking purgatory in a weird way. It's kind of the only way I can think of to explain it. And I've gotten some good feedback on the first couple of videos. I think episode 1 and 2 posted on Wednesday and Friday of last week, and we're gonna be all Valheim for the foreseeable future on Stuff and Things Plays. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, next week will be Valheim episodes. And even though a lot of you seem to be enjoying it, I do want to say it gets better and better as the series progresses, because at first I don't know what in the world's going on, never played the game before, didn't look anything up about the game. And so I wanted to go in just completely fresh. There are a lot of systems, a lot of things going on, a lot of ways for you to try to survive. You're building houses, you're gathering resources, you're chopping down trees, you're fighting bosses. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And my little Viking, Kevin Kevinson, is trying to clothe himself and do all these things. And so there's a lot to kind of get up to speed with. But as I get more familiar with the game and sort of start figuring out some of its systems, it gets more and more fun and more weird too. There's a lot of good stuff coming up in that series. I'm about 4 weeks ahead, I think. So believe me, it gets really good after a while. So stay tuned. I'm feeling you're gonna like it. And we also, I still wanna try to get some videos done, or at least a video done about the new super telephoto camera lens I got, but we'll get into that later. But there's a lot more that I want to fit in on this channel. So I've got a backlog of things, a whole big list. Just stay tuned, you're gonna enjoy it. Okay, so as I mentioned, I still have not completed the, not even review, but sort of overview of the Canon RF 600mm f11 lens. It's a lens I got because it's basically the only super telephoto I could ever afford, but it does give me the option to take some really cool wildlife pictures. I've still been trying to do that. I've been taking it to work with me every single day, just hoping for the opportunity to take some cool pictures. It just hasn't arisen yet. That weird thing has been going on lately. I don't know if you've noticed it as well, but especially around here in the Pacific Northwest, around this time every year, you start seeing this like really bright disc in the sky, and it really hurts if you look at it. It casts this really bright, harsh light. That's been showing up recently, and it's been a little less cold. The water that falls from the sky is falling a little less often. And because of that, there seem to be more birds, more wildlife, there's squirrels, a lot of things coming around. And so I've been trying to catalog those things. With that in mind, I had picked up a bag of wild bird seed, and I was going to use that to sort of lure creatures into my yard. I thought naively that if I had it in the plastic container, not container, but plastic bag, why can't I think of that word, that it came in, that it would be, you wouldn't smell it if you were a little creature or a little critter, and it would be okay on my porch to just leave it there until I got around to maybe cracking it open and putting it in a tub or something like that. I was wrong. I guess there's some jerk squirrel who, he likes to freak out my fiance by jumping up onto the window screen in our kitchen window and just like staring at her. And he apparently got onto the porch. I don't know how he knows that there were seeds in there for him to eat, because you can't really see it, and I would assume you can't really smell it through the plastic. Maybe you can, but he took his evil little claws and ripped it open and just had a giant waterfall of all these seeds all over our porch, and he was just gorging himself. So I had to put that away. Basically bought like a giant Tupperware tub to keep that in. But I'm trying. Basically, the whole purpose of the story is to tell you I'm trying. The animals are still being creeps, they're being jerks, they don't want their pictures taken, but I'm gonna keep trying, and eventually I will try to get a video out where I show you the Canon RF 600mm lens and some of the pictures I will hopefully get with it. I've gotten some, but just not enough for a whole video. Next, I mentioned that I had another, I don't even know if I want to say a recommendation. We watched a film that was very good, but it was very grim and very disturbing. And I guess I'll recommend it, but you might not feel very good after watching it. I know I didn't. The film is called Streetwise, and we watched it on the Criterion channel. I don't know where else it's available, but you may be able to rent it somewhere. It's from 1983, and it is a documentary about street kids living in Seattle. And that's initially why Diamond, my fiance, wanted to watch it with me, because, you know, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and she had started watching it, didn't even realize it took place in Seattle, and then they started talking about Seattle and Mount Vernon and Bellingham and other areas around here. And so we started watching it, and it struck me that, you know, as a kid, I would go down to Seattle. We'd go to watch Mariner games or things like that. And it was by then the late 80s, early 90s. And I think by then Seattle had already sort of gentrified, or it had already become more like tech-focused. Boeing, all these things were happening where it was bringing in more high-paying jobs. And I don't know, it seemed like a nice place when I was a kid. And I think maybe in general in the US, there was sort of that shift. In the 70s and 80s, cities were very gritty and maybe dirty and crime-ridden. There was that era, especially in the late 70s, early 80s, where it seemed like there was the flight from the urban centers and everything was just sort of in decay. And then into the 90s and early 2000s, cities really cleaned up their act for the most part in the US. Of course, now everything's falling to hell again because of various things that have been happening recently. But anyway, there was a period from like the 90s into the early 2000s where cities were very livable and nice, and it seemed very clean and safe. That was not the case in 1983. And I knew that Seattle had a history of being you know, a very working class city, a lot of fishing and manufacturing and industry and things like that. And it wasn't until the 90s that it became more white collar and focused on software and things like that. I didn't realize how gritty it was in the early 80s. And I think the video or the film is very fascinating. It follows several kids. And that is what is most disturbing about it, is that you are watching kids on the street. These are people who are 13, 14 years old. There is one girl you follow who is a prostitute. And she says she's 14 in the film. I found out later that she was actually only 13 when the film was filmed. And it is really disturbing. And I don't understand how nothing was done to pick these kids up. Like now, there's a huge issue with homelessness in Seattle and other major urban centers. And when I see footage of downtown Seattle and there's just like an out of control homeless population, I don't see children really. And I don't know, maybe there are children there, maybe it's more widespread than I'm aware of, but in this documentary, pretty much everyone they're showing is under 18 and living a horrendous existence. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away about the film. It's a hard watch, but it's very interesting, and I would recommend, if you have a strong disposition, you can watch Streetwise. As far as I know, well, I definitely know it's available on the Criterion Channel. I'm not sure where else you'd be able to check it out, but if you can find it, watch Streetwise. I'd like to know what you think. All right, gang, I mentioned a box opening, or actually there were two boxes. I got two packages in my P.O. box recently. I wasn't sure what was in them. I wasn't expecting anything, and so I just cracked them open and then found some very interesting things inside. So I wanted to share them with you. All right, so two different boxes from two different people. The first is from a very nice person. This is Paul, or AKA Razorback Piper Guy. And I tried to find both of the people who sent me these packages on Instagram to thank them via Instagram, but was not able to find them on Instagram. But anyway, from Paul, Paul says, "Hey Bradley, I hope this finds you well. Sam Gawith Navy Flake has been a favorite of mine for a while, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. It's Virginia and Latakia, with a slight rum topping, as is common with Navy blends. I barely notice the rum myself. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the blend and hope you will consider reviewing it on the channel. I love the content. Keep up the good work. Sincerely, your good friend Paul." Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that very much. And I will definitely review Navy Flake on the channel at some point. Obviously, we have HH Pure Virginia to get through, and then we also have Stonehaven after that. I will try to slot Navy Flake in there somewhere. I've been aware of Navy Flake, and yes, I'm aware that there is a rum topping, which has made me slightly apprehensive about reviewing it, but you know, I've turned over a new leaf where maybe I can review slight aromatics, light aromatic crossover blends, whatever you want to call them. And of course, it's a Gawith blend, so I'm sure it's probably going to be pretty good, or at least of good quality. So thank you so much for the Navy Flake and the very nice letter, Paul. Now, we have another package, and this is from Timothy. Is that Timothy? They both have very nice handwriting, by the way. I don't know if you can see this. This is Timothy's. You probably can't see that, but it's very nice. And then Paul, also very nice. Looks like they both used fountain pens to write these letters. Quite nice. So Timothy says, "Hi Bradley, I hope you're doing well. I would first like to say thank you for all the work you put into the channel. I've been a regular viewer of Stuff and Things for the past 4 or 5 years. Long haul. And I really enjoy your content. I've even gotten into the Hitman 2 series on SATP. Thank you. I'm not much of a gamer myself, but I've been thoroughly entertained by that series. I was going through my cellar and I found a few tins that you might be interested in. As I recall, You have had all of these blends in the past. I don't know if I've had all of them. However, there may be one exception. I don't know if you have ever tried blank. I'll show this blend to you later. I think this particular tin should have just the right amount of age on it. Well, at least for a Latakia blend anyway. Please accept this package as a gesture of my appreciation for your work and great content. Your reviews, along with Sunday Stuff and Things in particular, have brought me a lot of enjoyment over the years, so I hope this parcel can return the favor to a degree. God bless, and thanks again, Timothy. Thank you so much, Timothy. That is very kind of you. I really appreciate, especially knowing that you've been watching for so long. Ugh, that's great. Like, the fact that you want to keep watching after that long is very, very gratifying. And my God, you sent a lot. So let's get into this here. We've got quite a few tins. Can you see them here? Okay, no. So I can lift these up. All right, first of all, we have Dunhill Navy rolls. Quite nice. So you know there's some age on there. I could look at the date code on this eventually and figure out exactly when this was made. But Navy rolls, Dunhill Navy rolls, quite nice. We also have Escudo Navy Deluxe, which of course I have had and reviewed and enjoyed quite a bit. Thank you, Timothy. We also have Dunhill Dark Flake. Very nice. This is not something that is currently in production. Peterson does not do Dark Flake right now, so this is very nice. Dunhill Dark Flake. We have, Ashton Artisans Blend. I reviewed this quite a while back. And when I reviewed it, it was a blend that had Syrian Latakia in it, which is something that is very, very rare these days. So it's very cool to see Ashton Artisans Blend. We also have some GLP's Gaslight, one of my favorite GLP's blends, actually. It's a really cool plug. Very, very dark, rich Latakia blend, as the name would suggest, sort of reminiscent of, I don't know, Dickensian London, foggy. We also have Dracour and Sons Levant mixture. I guess he was right. I guess this is the only blend that I haven't had. So this is Levant mixture. It's one that I haven't actually been aware of. I know of Dracour and Sons, but not Levant mixture. For the discriminating gentleman. So there's a rather long tin description here. I just want to see if it says specifically what this is. No, it doesn't say specifically what kind of mixture Levant mixture is, but I will check that out. I'm quite interested to try that. And then the capper here, Samuel Gawith Full Virginia Flake. I was just talking about how much I enjoy this when I was reviewing this, or not reviewing, but doing the first impressions of Pure Virginia. So I've said it before, and I still say that Full Virginia Flake by Gawith is sort of the apotheosis of the straight Virginia Flake, in my opinion. I don't know if you can beat it. I mean, I think you can beat it in flavor, maybe, but as far as just the baseline by which other straight Virginia Flake should be judged, I think Gawith Full Virginia Flake could fit that bill. So thank you, Timothy, very, very much. Thank you, Paul, very generous of both of you. And I don't know, we may do videos about some of these blends in the future. I definitely want to check this out. And obviously some of these I've had before, but maybe some revisited episodes or just enjoying them in a future episode, I'm sure will probably happen. So thank you both very, very much. But gang, now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. If you have a question for me, which you would like me to answer on the Sunday Stuff and Things, tweet at SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings, and I will do my best to answer your question. Also, you can ask me questions via YouTube comments or through Patreon direct messaging if you are a Patreon supporter. We really like getting questions from you because it really helps to sort of bring things to my attention. It's good feedback from you, and then it also brings up good topics to discuss on the Sunday Stuff and Things. So please keep the questions coming. The first one we have this week is via Twitter, and Ryan McFadin, a Patreon supporter. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan says, "Hi, Bradley. So I've been getting into watches as of late. Have you ever thought about making videos reviews on watches you own? Seems like there's a lot of overlap between the hobby and others you cover. Thanks, man." Watches are things that I should really be into, or it's a subject I should really be into. I only own one watch, and that's the one on my wrist right now. It's one that other people have mentioned and asked me about. It is a Bulova Accutron Gemini, and it's, I don't know, quite a few years old now. It is a manual wind watch. It's not, what's the difference? It's not, you actually have to wind it. It doesn't automatically wind. It's not an automatic watch. It is a manual wind watch. It has a Swiss movement in it. It's a nice watch. It's a quality manual watch, but I don't know a ton about watches in general, other than I think they're cool. And if I could own any watch in the world, it would be a Patek Philippe. I can't remember the exact model, but they are ridiculously expensive, but they are gorgeous. But thanks for the suggestion, Ryan. Next from TJ at TJ_D3. Bradley, back when Dunhill Elizabethan went off the market and before Peterson stepped in to save the day, you were on a quest to find a replacement for the beloved Elizabethan. Can you remind us what you decided would be your replacement? Yes, it was GLP's Stratford. I haven't thought of that name for quite some time because Elizabethan was reintroduced to the market and Stratford sort of fell away, but Stratford was a good blend. It's not Elizabethan, but it's a good blend. Next from Antonio Rico at Bonitoni01. Hey Bradley, I won't do that. Hey Bradley, you've expressed your interest in Japan and Japanese culture. I was wondering, do you watch any anime? And if so, which ones? I think I've mentioned anime on the channel several times. Some of my all-time favorites or old favorites would be Cowboy Bebop, of course, is a classic. I watched Neon Genesis Evangelion in the past. I watched, what are some of the older ones? Like Rurouni Kenshin, I would watch in the past. Full Metal Alchemist. A series, the only series, or no, that's not true. One of the only series that my fiance has watched with me and really enjoyed was one called Barakamon. It's kind of a fish out of water, day in the life or daily life sort of anime episode. There's no violence or crazy situation. It's just a modern day Japanese calligrapher who has an anger problem, moves to a tiny Japanese island, and the quirky locals sort of crack his hard exterior and win his heart. So that was a fun one. And then we also watched one called Kids on the Slope, which is by the same director of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. It's Watanabe. But it's a period piece set in the early 60s, again, in kind of a rural, small town in Japan. And two boys whose shared love of jazz draws them together and they create or develop a friendship. It's really nice, poignant, good one. Yeah, I've watched a lot. Like Dragon Ball Z way back in the day, Dragon Ball. I've watched a lot of anime. Next from Kiwi Leonard. All right. Hey Bradley, or it's at Kiwi_Leonard. Hey Bradley, I really enjoy your Stuff and Things YouTube channel. Well, thank you. My question, have you tried Gawith Hoggarth, Burley and Bright? Would you consider a review if you haven't already? Thank you. I have not tried it, and I may in the future. Thank you. Whenever someone asks me if you will do a certain blend, I always have to say maybe. I will definitely consider it, but like you have seen in the last couple weeks, I have many blends that I have to work my way through. So it might be a while to get to your request. But thank you all for the questions. Please keep them coming in. But now, gang, it's time for the very best part of the Sunday Stuff and Things, and that is where I thank our supporters. The people on Patreon who support the channels at $25 or more a month get a special shout out because I want to show how much I appreciate them. Their continued support makes possible this show. It helps pay for the camera equipment that I spent far too much money on. It helps pay for blends and other products to review, and I cannot thank you enough for your support. If you would like to support the channels, there is a Patreon link in the description box below. But one minor way that I can try to express my appreciation is a shout out every week. And this week we would like to thank our good friends Kirk Crompton, Private Eye, Cody Strigler, Glenn, Gus, Jason Buckner, Jen Oside, John Leone, Krisztian Kovacs, Joshua Jackson, Gloria Phillips, Ryan McFadin, Matt Marino, and Joe Heaphy. But we would also like to thank the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month. People like our amazing good friend, Peter Straub, our other huge good friend, Bob Magee, and yet another huge good friend, David Gaudreau. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching this week's Sunday Stuff and Things. Please stay tuned for the... Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Yes, the first impressions video of H.H. Pure Virginia by McFadin coming up on Wednesday. Also, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Stuff and Things Plays, Valheim continues and the further adventures of Kevin Kevinson. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday Stuff and Things. Very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.